What is the most messed up thing that is accepted in today's society? Politicians getting away with blatantly not giving a frick about doing anything in the interests of the people they are supposed to be representing. It's staggering how much blatant lying goes on in UK government these days. Politicians just stand up and say stuff that isn't true, and if anyone objects they get lampooned for stoking division or some crap. It blows me away how consistently these suckers get away with it. Nobody does anything about it. Rewarding lying, deceitful, crap behavior and punishing people who try to play by the rules and discouraging honesty and respect. F in the chat for Bernie. That there are people whose job it is to influence us and try and change our behavior without us realizing. It's creepy as heck, but it's just accepted. The UK has an entire government department dedicated to trying to alter people's behavior without us realizing. It's called the Nudge Unit. It's creepy AF. How education is simply a business. Go into a lifetime's worth of debt to get an education and be greeted with no jobs. Agreed. If your boyfriend abuses you, he is toxic and you are expected to leave. If your family abuses you, blood is thicker than water. Totally agree. Mindlessly sticking with an abusive family just because it's family makes things even worse than they are in any other toxic relation. In a single phrase, money in politics. This includes those who make the bribes, those who take them, and those who support it. The "you're either with us or against us" tribalism mentality that is oh so prevalent these days. It always ends in a perpetual cycle of hatred and conflict. Also people being dishonest for the sake of coming off as a nice person. Frick that, just tell the truth even if it hurts, it's still the truth, and be self-aware about your own pros and cons. Don't be like a lot of delusional people on the internet who see themselves as the main character. We're all the same equally insignificant clumps of organic matter. Lobbyists buying politicians and causing crap laws to be passed. Bills titled in such a way that you look bad if you vote against it. Bills ending in for the children that have nothing to do with what they sound like they are for. Bill ending in for the children but actually has crappy policies that are unrelated and are snuck into laws. Alcohol ruins lives, destroys your health, causes violence and crappy decisions. We let celebrities tell us things even though a lot of them don't have a sense of reality that a lot of us live, and only push stuff that's mainstream. Even if you know that what they are saying is false, they will only say it so they don't get cancelled. Honestly, I just wish people would stop caring about the 2 cent celebrities or big figures have to say about things and just do our own research and actual thinking to come to our own conclusions. The average age of first exposure to hardcore pornography is 11. I feel like the rampant exposure of children to hardcore HD streaming should be a bigger issue, but nobody seems to care or talk about it ever. If anything, people seem to joke about it, and I don't know how I feel about that. Companies get their main profit from frisky young teenagers, so of course they don't care. Money is more important than people in this freaked up world. How all of us give a majority of our monthly earnings to rent or mortgage. I just cannot comprehend how we all just passively agree to do this. We will do this for an entire lifetime and train our children to do the same. Literally all of us do that and we are freaking slaves to it. How much would literally everyone's life substantially change for the better if we just didn't have to do that or spend such a significant amount of our time working just to go to our house apartment that we can only sleep in, with broken sleep, due to the stress of our lives? I dream of escaping this cycle, but TBH, it's not looking good for me. Every time I have issues with the way some things are done, taxes, refinancing my house, debt, college, etc., I've always expressed this to my mother and asked why nobody ever tries to change what is obviously a broken system. Her response, while not as dismissive, is usually some variation of "that's just how things are done." That mentality of just accepting things are the way they are regardless of it's how things should be is one of the most harmful things I've seen permeating societies all over the world. Most people hate uncertainty and taking risks. They are inherently less safe than the status quo, so it's easier for a lot of people to just adapt to the broken way rather than changing it and potentially making it worse. The fact that it's just Republican versus Democrat, like, there is the Independent Party and the Green Party but no one really talks about them. The voting system is designed to keep third parties down. Since people only get one vote, casting it towards a smaller party you like only makes the big party that actually has a shot do worse relative to the other one you really don't like. Politicians making one rule for the public then doing as they please. For example, days before Christmas last year the UK was put into another lockdown. It's come out this week that regardless of this, Downing Street held multiple Christmas parties, while the general public weren't allowed to spend Christmas with their families. It was such a hard time for everyone, and it really is a slap in the face that the government did this, though it's not really surprising at this point. School punishment systems. Why am I getting suspended when he hit me and I just stood there taking it until a member of staff showed up? Little girls' beauty pageants. They make them look like young adults and they shouldn't. It's creepy. Their mums are worse though. LOL. I feel like mental illness is slowly being normalized. What I mean by this is that it's seen as cool by more people than before, especially teenagers on social media. Agreed. Everyday stress, occasional doubt, periodic life challenges. These are not mental health disorders. People are naturally resilient, but I see this growing narrative that instead insists we are all traumatized and need constant support. That's not the direction we want to go in. War. I know that it may be naive to believe in world peace, but I really wish that folks would just love each other and stop fighting. So much good could be done with the world's combined military budgets. If also would like to add in murder, but that one isn't accepted. I can only imagine a world so happy as one where we treat each other with love, and the concept of murder violence is unheard of, never living afraid that someone might break into your home, shoot up your school, or kill you at a traffic stop. This reminded me of a book I read a while back called The Giver by Lois Lowry, which has a similar society. I agree though, the world would really be much better if we'd all forget war, but there's always going to be those few who decide to do crazy crap and screw everything up. That we work 40+ hour weeks for 30 years for a house. It's illegal to go into the bush and build your own home by hand, yet that's how people have lived for tens of thousands of years. I don't want to work a career away from my family my entire life just to have a house. I just want a roof over my head and land to grow food on. If I want money, I'll go trade my labor for money somewhere for a little. I shouldn't have to do it for decades just to get by. Even if I do manage to buy land somewhere remote, it's still not my land. I have to pay taxes every year on it, and my home requires permits to build and can't be a shed or something similar, as that's illegal. There's a video on YouTube of a man who bought some land and built a house himself. The land was cheap, I think. He just paid for material and it took him a year or so. Thought it was a great win for the home team. Circumcision of infant boys. Mutilating a baby without his consent, for practically no benefit, is fricked up and needs to be stopped. I don't care what a Bronze Age cult says, but baby boys need to be protected. Destroying your face with filler duck lips, Botox and spider eyelashes. I have never looked at a person with any of that stuff on their face and said to myself, wow, this person looks good 9 out of 10 times. People overdo it and look terrible. We have multiple holidays dedicated to vets who served our country in addition to the largest military budget in the world, but we don't give two shoots when they are living on the streets. The fact that we allow anyone to go homeless is insane, but allowing former vets is next level crappy. Cancel culture. The fact someone thinks they are entitled to destroy someone's life and livelihood because their opinion doesn't not align with yours is absolutely appalling. Worst yet, when you're just a dang woke person who doesn't really understand anything because you're just following the woke trend. This is a bad way of putting it, but African Americans being racist towards other races and saying it's not racist. Their insert race here, typically white. Again, bad way of putting it, but IDK how else to really say it. It's something I see happen a decent amount of times already. Medical bills. I live in America for reference. A trip in an ambulance would cost me upwards of $7 grand. Frick that, I'd rather die or drive myself depending on my mood. Insulin costs are through the roof and my friend can't afford it. Medicare won't pay for my great grandmother's walker and disabled friendly tub even though she needs it, and that's what Medicare is for. I can't get my prescription anymore because it's gotten too expensive. Frick all this crap. University students dictating what can and cannot be taught, and students being allowed to skip exams when their person loses an election. Yes, this. The first thing that came into my mind is plastic surgery. I'm not entirely against it and have my own insecurities I'm thinking about altering, but it's way too normalized for the risks it entails. You can die, be botched, or suffer from pretty bad side effects. All of these fake genders that don't even mean anything. Like if someone said they were gyno vanagender, no one would even bat an eye, no matter how stupid or false it is. Gyno vanagender. Ah yes, the pronouns is gold experience requiem or gold experience. The fact that Americans can make any untalented idiot rich and famous. Example, Cardi B. The fact that I'm the United States people spend years in college for a career, then start those careers and spend a lifetime to make decent money. Then in the world we live today, a 20-year-old all they have to do is pick up a baseball bat to throw a football and get signed for hundreds of millions of dollars for a few years. Or some untalented idiot picks up a microphone, uploads a video to YouTube, and overnight, the sheeple makes them famous. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.